I'm right back with another video. It's 10:34 a.m. It is January 15th, um, Wednesday morning. It's my birthday. Actually, my birthday I don't really consider it my birthday until the actual hour of when I was born, and I was born at 7:32 p.m. But anyway, it's the day. Today is my birthday. So, I'm just kind of, I thought about going to the park today and just kind of sitting around, and I'm like, it's winter. It's like winter, kind of chilly outside. I might go later on this afternoon. I don't know what I'll do, but I want to get out of the house today. I don't want to be stuck in here. Um, so I wanted to come and make this video really quick and talk about, understanding people's positions, like why people think the way that they do. And, I don't like the word tolerance because it's like, oh, I'm going to put up with this particular person. I just look at everybody and I believe that people have the right to live their life however they want to. Of course, just don't try to enforce or, what do you call it? Inflict or try to force your views on me. Okay, that's the American way, right? Um, but I do. I mean, I know that certain people have their way of living, and I respect that. You know, I know when I was younger, I worked for a company, and there was a lady who was like in her 50s. Okay, as a matter of fact, I remember her telling me she was 56 years old, and she was, just one of those women who I would say she was one of those glamorous women. She was 56 years old, and she was quite glamorous. And one of the people who just like literally bathed in perfume, and she had a heavy smell of perfume. It was pleasant, okay, but I thought, and she was a strong believer, like everybody needed to smell flowery, and she believed that leaving the house every day, like it was wrong not to wear perfume. Like she really believed that, like that wearing perfume was something that she believed everybody should wear because she felt like everybody's body probably stank if you didn't, right? And see, I'm not a perfume person. I've never. I mean, I've had a few bottles of perfume. I think I still have some. I don't use it. Most of them have been gifted to me, and I can honestly tell you they're probably years old. I mean, they are years old. Every once in a while, like if I see like a what do I call it, what do you call it? An aisle, what with the cap stands. What do you call those things when you go to a store and they have them on the side of the aisle and they have like different varieties or whatever. So I'll look at them and I'll like pick up like a body spray or something because I think they smell nice, like this one right here. Cheap little things like that, and they're nice. Okay, but I don't really wear them. There was just something I would collect. I don't wear perfume. I just don't. Okay, but everybody has their little way about them. And you know what? It's fine. Now some people, if the perfume is smelling and it's making people sick, like I know this one particular person, different person, okay? She had a job interview. We were at the company and she had a job interview, and this particular candidate came in and she had this strong smelling perfume that was literally making people sick. I mean, it was very strong. And in that case where it's affecting another person, then that's an issue. Because if somebody's sitting in the office and they're wearing perfume and it's making other people sick, well, then that's an issue because it's affecting other people. Okay, I haven't affected anyone by any of this. Like I said, this issue was created not by me. Okay, I have people who feel as though they're in competition with me. Who created this issue? I didn't create the issue. In the past, other than outside intrusion, meaning like my ex-family or whatever, I've never encountered problems because, there's a lot of people who, like I said, dress far nicer than me and far more expensive clothes than I have. But when you're dealing with gang stalking, the whole purpose of it is to basically destroy your life, and they want to pick you apart, whatever, and all this other stuff. I am who I am. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm a African American woman. I don't like to use the word African American. I guess maybe black, African American, whatever you want to call it. Okay. I'm a woman of another race. I'm a black woman. Okay. And, we have issues with our hair, like I mentioned before. And has always been an issue. I know in the, when I first entered like the serious workforce, I was hired by a talent scout lady who I met, who just so happened to be black, and she was telling me, you can wear braids if you want to with this company that we're going to be hiring you at. And at the time I never wore braids or anything like that, but she let me know that it was acceptable. It was okay to do that. Now, that was, of course, a huge corporation who, followed certain guidelines, and employment. I mean, when it comes to employment, those guidelines really do apply to every company. But some companies are they're adamant about, respecting those rules, and they understand them. Okay, that doesn't mean that you're not going to have conflicts. That doesn't mean you're not going to deal with a manager that doesn't understand them. Okay, but these particular people did. Okay, so I was hired, and at the time, I pretty much wore my hair kind of like how it is now. Okay, but of course I had more hair back then. It was a lot thicker, and I didn't have all these like gaps and all these issues with it. So I basically wore my hair kind of like this. You know what I mean? It's pretty same old boring style. Okay, I'm wearing a hat right now. So that's what I did, because that was what I was used to doing. When you're dealing with people from different backgrounds or different ideas or beliefs, okay, like we're dealing with, like let's just say, for example, we can start with certain people, okay. We're talking about my ex-brother-in-law. Okay, my ex-brother-in-law has his views and opinions on how women should be. And there's a lot of women who would probably flip him off and tell him to go stuff it, because they have the right to live however they want to. I'm not married to this man, okay? When I did have I had a legal marriage license, and yeah, it was legal, okay? I had a legal marriage license. Now, whether he was already married or he got married after I left town back in 2007, whatever the case is, okay? Joel never had an issue. Like, he would go shopping with me all the time. All the time. You know what I mean? And there were times like when I would come home from the store and I would be, say, hey, do you like this? Whatever. He never, ever said, I don't like this or what. He never said that to me. So, whether our marriage was valid or not, I don't really know. But my point is that, this issue would be between he and I. He never said anything about it. He never, as a matter of fact, I remember when I got the braids, he told me he liked the braids. You know what I mean? I remember when I came back from back in 2009, which I moved back to Bakersfield, and he was coming around. This is before we moved back in together. I was transitioning. I had braids, and it was time for me to take the braids out. And I kept thinking, I don't want to deal with this mess. And I remember cutting all my hair off, and he was there. He actually helped me cut my hair off. Really short, okay? So my point is that he understood, he knew about my hair issue. He knew about it, okay? So I think that Jim Culligan, and I mean, I understand Joel's probably ignorant on this issue as well, okay? He probably just went along with it because, he was one of those people who always went along with everything. But the thing is that, when you are dealing with someone who has a very strong personality, who wants to enforce their views on another person through, other people, it's gonna end up being a harassment issue. Okay. I knew several white women that I worked with in the past who would get hair weaves. And a lot of black women get hair weaves. That's when they sew the hair in. A lot of white women have very thin hair. Their hair's thin. Some people do it because they want to have more volume to their hair because it looks kind of weird. It's kind of just sitting there. And that's not a bad thing. I think people tend to think just because a person looks in the mirror and they don't like it, they don't like what they're dealing with, doesn't mean that they're a bad person or that they're arrogant. There's nothing wrong with taking pride in your appearance. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, it should never be the main thing. It should not be something that people think, well, I look nice, so therefore I should be, having a windfall of, friends, popularity, blah, blah, blah. I should be able to get along with everybody because of the way I look, blah, 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 blah. That's not right. Okay. But there are some people who say, well, there's a lot of women, like, for example, white women who have brown hair. Okay. I know a lot of white women who are naturally brown haired or dark haired who prefer to be blondes. And so they dye their hair. And there's a lot of women who are working right now in this town who have blonde hair who are not natural blondes, but they're going to work every day. Same thing. I don't see the difference between the two. Okay, but what we're dealing with a man who has this idea that women don't have any say so, and that men are supposed to not, to basically dominate. Okay, he believes in this sort of lifestyle. Okay, and that's his choice. You know what I mean? And if my ex sister Tanya wants to go along with that, then that's her choice as well. Okay, now I want to talk about, but don't inflict or try to impose your shit on me. Don't do it. All right, you've already did it, and you've caused a big problem. Okay, and it wasn't appropriate. And also, you based it on something that this issue on Facebook. Okay, on Facebook, everybody shows their best picture. Okay, but that was basically it. And I don't see what I did was wrong. I'm not going to apologize for what I did because I don't see where I did anything wrong. Okay, and so now we're going to deal with Joel's family. Joel's family has always been in an environment that is predominantly white. What they know about black people is probably what they've known on television and have very limited real contact with black people to understand who they are and what they do and all this other stuff. So they're going to sit here, and also I want to also add the fact that this is an issue relating to a relationship that they have with Joel. Like, they have this sort of relationship that I don't fully understand, but obviously I'm not interested in being in a competition. These people don't belong in my life because I'm divorced from him. I'm divorced. I'm not his wife. Okay. And I was divorced for over a year now. And when I got my divorce finalized, I think it was October 2018. And I started working over the place that they put me in and I actually started getting my divorce proceedings done when I was working at the other job over at the manufactured homes place. Okay, so I made it very clear that I wanted a divorce. Okay, and so maybe they, I don't know what it is, but I'm just like, wow, I made it very clear that I didn't want to have this sort of thing, and I had made several attempts to leave the community, and yet they continued to keep me here. You see what I'm saying? So this injustice is not my fault. It's not my fault. Okay? And I'm not a rival to Polly or Esther. And I know that they have their religious beliefs, which they are entitled to have their religious beliefs. They have every right to have their views. You know what I mean? But I don't agree with your views. Okay? And that's not me being defiant. It's just, I have a right to. Scripturally, legally, everything down the line. And so I've made myself clear about this. And then I deal with my other relatives, they have their personal views. I know that my family, for example, what I eat, okay? My family has always struggled with their weight. My mother struggled with her weight for many years. I saw her struggle with her weight, and I felt bad for her. I really did, I knew that it wasn't comfortable for her. I remember when I was younger, I was really young at the time. I think, it was like a teenager or so, okay? And she was pretty heavy set at the time, and she was very heavy set. And I remember her having a little, what do you call it, like a scab on her leg, okay? And she was scratching it. She scratched it, and then she stood up. And when she stood up, there was a bunch of blood that splattered all over the floor, okay? Because her weight was too much for her body. And then the pressure just like, and I thought, my God. When you see these sort of things when you're younger, it leaves an impression on your mind, okay? And I'm not saying that I don't bash people who are overweight. I understand what it's like to be overweight. I do understand. That's not me saying, I'm better than whatever. It's just that, what? I remember seeing this, okay? And then I also mentioned I had a friend whose mom had an ice cream coma on the toilet, okay? Because this is the kind of stuff that she did all the time. And so when you decide that this is not for you, you have every right to decide that it's not for you. It's not for me. You know what I mean? I remember being so big one time, I just felt so uncomfortable. Like every time I would lay down in bed, I never felt right while I was laying in bed. Like I always felt like I was kind of suffocating, especially when I was laying on my back. I just felt like it was too much weight. I couldn't do with it. And that's my choice. Okay. When I go for a walk, My walks are mostly for relaxation, get my mind cleared so I can think straight, relieve myself of pressure, kind of get myself thinking about things. And even if I did, let's just say, for example, I joined the gym. Do people who join the gym, do they get targeted? Do they? People who are into, like, toning their body and which I think I admire that. You know what I mean? If people want to admire, I mean, get their body toned. My body's not toned. I got, excess here. My body's not toned. It's not. I mean, I'm not like, I was looking at Tina Turner videos because they've been showing them on Facebook or whatever, and I admire her body, okay? And every time I see Tina Turner, I'm like, damn, that one's got a great body. She's got a wonderful body, okay? Tone, even at her age, she's gotten a little bit overweight now, but she has always, in her younger years, she's always been very, very toned. I'm not toned. I'm not toned. And I don't really make a whole lot of effort to get toned, okay? It's fun, like when your body is really toned, when you got all this, like, tight and everything, that's great, okay? And I've had that before, okay? But I'm not the kind of person that's obsessed about keeping it toned. You know what I mean? I don't think people should, I shouldn't be carrying any excess more weight than I have. But it's like, I'm not somebody who's just like obsessed about, having this toned body or getting into that bikini. I don't wear bikinis, okay? I had a tankini that I bought. A tankini is like it's a longer version of a bikini. I've had it in my drawer for many years. I don't even know what happened to it, but I've never actually worn it, okay? So it's not about me. What I'm dealing with is I'm dealing with a competition. And, when you deal with people who might be overweight, who are discriminating against you because you choose not to be, and that's obviously discrimination. Anything that relates to your physical appearance is a discrimination issue. You know what I mean? And you're constantly making issues on it. That's a form of sexual harassment. It is. It's a form of sexual harassment. Okay. Me going for walks has nothing to do with. Now, like I said, there's people who, don't have. They don't like going outside. I like going outside. I prefer being outside on my free time. I would not want to be being outside for, like, all day long or whatever. But there's times where it's like, I'm tired. I want to get some sunlight. Yes, Black people like sunlight. I enjoy the sunlight. It energizes me just like it does anyone else, okay? So that's why I like sitting in the sun. Like right now I'm sitting in the sun. It feels good, right? When you're outside, it feels great, okay? Going to the park, looking at some of these cute homes that people beautify. It's nice to look at, right? That's what it's about, okay? But even if I wanted to have a super hellatone body, I mean, if I wanted it tight, if I wanted my buttocks tight, my legs tight, my arms tight, that's my choice. That is my choice. I have every right to, okay? And it's not about Joel or anybody else. It's about what I would want, okay? But obviously, I'm not doing that. Because rest assured, while I was working, I would have got myself a gym membership, and I would have been, like, doing all this other stuff, okay? I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that, And like I said, I have every right to do if I want to. See, when you're dealing with people who are choosing your job, or doing this sort of like manipulation behind the scenes, they usually base the employment, it's contingent upon things that are based off of their personal insecurities or their whims. You know what I mean? And that's why we have these laws in place, because they're saying, under these particular guidelines, this is not what you should be using as a criteria to get hired. Like your marital status, your race, your religion, whatever, all these certain things, okay? And I'm not speaking against the establishment. I'm speaking against people who have intruded into my life that didn't belong in the first place. You see what I'm saying? I do understand their point of view to a certain extent, because it's like they have certain views, okay? And their views, they have every right to have those views, but when you come into my life, when you're not invited, you're not welcome into my life, and rightfully so. It's not about me. It's just like this relationship ended, okay? I don't even know if it was actually legit. I mean, it was legit on paper, but it was never meant to, we're not married, okay? It's basically what I'm saying. So, I do understand that, I'm dealing with an issue that's not fair to me, and that's one of the reasons why. Oh, and I also want to talk about The last employer who I was talking about when I was talking about setups. Okay, this was another man that they set me up at. You know, where he's not a bad looking guy. He is what society would say is a good looking man. Okay, I never flirted with the guy. Never thought to. I wasn't attracted to him. I thought he was kind of a jerk from the first time I met him, talking about, oh well, you just do what you need to do. We can just get rid of you. From day one, I thought he was an asshole. Okay, because you don't say that stuff to people who just get hired. All right, so my niceness, my being polite, that is exactly what that was. It was being polite. Okay, because I was being forced into a job that I didn't want to be in. Okay, so I had to have some sort of respect because I'm in that situation, and you're giving me, you're paying me, whatever. But the thing is, do I have any respect for you? No. Just because you're good looking doesn't mean I'm going to have any respect for you, or like you, or be attracted to you, or want to flirt with you. You know what I mean? A racist is a racist, and that means they're going to abuse you. And his behavior was abusive, whether he thinks it was or not. To terminate me for reasons that, the thing is, I didn't ask for the job. Okay, I didn't ask for it. So then he terminates me and puts me out in this situation. Should I have any respect? Should I be attracted to him? Should I just forget all of the injustice and throw myself on him and oh, I think you're so good looking, I want you? No. I know the difference between who I should be interested in and who I shouldn't be interested in. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not interested in anybody. Not like that. That's not my issue anyway. My issue is that this man made a bad decision. And then I also think there's a lot of ignorance in this community. I hate to say it, but this community. If business companies are actually participating in something like this and see nothing wrong with it, then I'm gonna basically say that this is an ignorant behavior. Barbaric, ignorant, backwards, Neanderthal behavior, and that's exactly what it is. This is a woman who's all by herself that people seem to think it's okay to waste their time. You know what I mean? In defending a woman who is abusing another woman who was set up in a relationship that was weird anyway because she was married to him. It's weird. The whole thing is weird, okay? But I'm not interested in being a part of any of that. It is, very bad behavior on these people's part, So I'm not going to take any blame for any of this at all. I will not take any blame for it. I don't want to deal with his family. I don't. Like I said, I know either his aunt or his cousin. I don't know if his aunt or his cousin, Callie. I know she had more to do with this than, she tries to let on. Okay, and here's another person with a religious mask on who's lying her face off, all this other stuff. Look, I don't have anything to do with you. I don't even know you. If she walked, seriously, this woman, if she walked in front of my face, I don't know if she's young, old, whatever. I don't remember her. I don't remember her at all. Don't know what color hair color she's got. I don't know. Okay, maybe she thought that I knew that he was married to his mom. Maybe she thought I did. And maybe she thought, well, she's responsible for breaking them. No, I'm not. No, I'm not responsible for breaking them up. No. If he would have told me and my mom got this thing going, and he tried to drop hints to me, but I didn't get it at first. I didn't get it. The complex thing he mentioned before when we first got together, but I thought he was talking about, it was just something he was bringing up, but then I get it. All the interactions that I had with him and his mother were always, like I said, I thought that was his mom. So, these people are defending incestuous relationships and then bullying a black woman, which, it's wow. That makes, no sense to me. Makes no sense to me whatsoever. But anyway, I'm not, and they do probably accept incest here, it's normal. You know what I mean? And if that's what you learn to, hey, have at it. You go right ahead, but it's not my thing. Just isn't. And I understand that some people never had the discussion. Some people really don't know what is, how can I say this? like I've always was, I learned when I was younger. I read, I remember researching that topic when I was younger. We had this discussion in sixth grade, and we were talking about, we had this teacher. I'm going to talk about this teacher. This teacher was so amazing. She was like our sixth grade teacher, and she was a Jewish lady. Best teacher I ever had, right? So every Friday, she would allow us to have these debates, okay? She was just brilliant. I love this woman. She played piano. She was just like the greatest teacher anyone could ever have, right? But she played piano, and then like we would have these debates in class, right? And so this one kid, I forgot his name, but he mentioned um, premarital sex, and then the conversation turned into incest, and then we were talking about that, and then she was talking about, yeah, people practice incest in the Bible. There was times where people, committed incest or whatever. And so this topic got me interested, right? So I remember we had these encyclopedias, and I remember looking it up, about incest. And then I was talking about why people who become more civilized or more cultured don't practice incest and the reasons why. Okay, and it talked about, the fact that having too close of bloodlines can cause birth defects, that can affect your brain, could affect your physical body. Like, some people in certain places, like in remote places in Utah, have clubbed feet, webbed feet. Some people have like really thick glands, enlarged heads, so on, so on and so forth. So people try to avoid that. Now, in some people, high class people like, the royals, I know they marry into their own family somewhere within their bloodline or whatever because they want to keep this particular bloodline going. I guess in certain situations, like when you marry distant cousins and stuff like that, some people do that because they want to keep the wealth in the family or whatever. But to me, in my personal opinion, it's one of those taboo things, and a lot of people look at it as taboo. That's my view on it. Okay, some people don't see it that way. Some people see it as taboo, and that's the reason why they think it's cool. Why it's like, wow, this is like forbidden, and it's like, it's something that we can do in our house, and it adds to, I guess, the spice of sex or whatever. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know, but it's not. Doesn't do anything for me. You know what I mean? I think, parental sex with children is like, no, it's not for me. So anyway, but since maybe she was raised how she was raised, no one ever had the discussion with her. Like I said, she was in a sanitarium when she was in her teens, and then she ended up getting married, and those particular conversations she probably never had. I don't know, whatever the case is. So I do understand certain people's points. Some people don't understand, or maybe even never considered those issues, but I have, and so it's just not for me. And I do not want to be in any sort of thing relating to being associated with somebody who is in a relationship and accusing me of wanting somebody who would do something like that. You know what I mean? That's really weird to me. It's really weird to me. It's sometimes I wake up in the morning and I'm like, this is the strangest stuff I've ever had to deal with, because it's surreal to me. It really is. It's surreal. But so I'm just kind of taking a day off today. I'm not really like doing a whole lot. It's my birthday. Yay. It's my birthday. I do want to get outside a little bit and see what's going on. Don't know if I'm actually going to end up doing that or not, because I don't really have any, I'm not able to go out and spend any money, only for things that I really, really need. I have to eke that out. And so it's like I'm pretty much stuck in the house. So the only thing I can do that's free is go for a walk. You know what I mean? And if I need to, I'm going to. And I'm going to do that because I'm bored. You know what I mean? It's like one of those, it is kind of Orwellian when you think about it. Like we have these thought police and these people who want to punish you, or punish you or bully you in certain indirect ways, that, and violate your rights. Like I have every right to go out and go for a walk, So anyway, I want to talk about my goals here. Like my goals aren't anything, extravagant. I'm just trying to get back to work in general. You know what I mean? But I have to. Right now, today, I told myself I'm not going to think about going back to work. I'm going to just think about my birthday. You know what I mean? Do little odd things to do. Like maybe I might work on arts and crafts today. And yes, there's nothing wrong with working on arts and crafts. There's nothing wrong with making your own clothes if that's what you want to do. That's what you choose to do. That's my thing. You know what I mean? And then for people to sit here and say, well, if this is, we're going to try not to do this because this is going to affect your job. I don't wear all my clothes to the workplace. You know what I mean? And I have every right to. I have every right to. You know, I'm dealing with stalkers that don't belong in my life. You know? And it would be nice if I could work for a company that, you know, reflected my true values. You know, like meaning like if I got to work for a fashion company, of course, you know, I'm not working in accounting anymore, but, you know, if I got to do something, maybe if I'm even like a secretary or something, I don't know what, you know, I'm open to different things now, you know, whatever that I can do, that I can draw from, use my talents, my skills, the skills that I have, my skill set, and direct it to something that's not necessarily relating to accounting, but whatever. I'm open. You know what I mean? And the only thing I would say that somebody who has been thrown out of their field at my age or whatever, they have to be open too. They don't have because there's already a situation in place where you don't have the flexibility, you don't have the ability to, you know, present yourself to an employer and say, hey, this is my true skill set, this is what I need to do, or that I should be doing, so let's do this. So all I can do is say, these are the certain things that I can do. I made a list of what I can do, and that's it. That's all I can do. You know what I mean? And I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? But I don't agree with it. But I don't agree with being thrown out of accounting for the reasons that they were talking about. Because I eat apples at my desk. Because, you know, I go for walks. You know, because I dress nice for work. Like, duh. You know what I mean? All of these things to me are ridiculous. You know, and like I said in the past, when I was married to Joel, literally, like physically, I mean, not physically, but like legally married to him, you know, there were times he and I would go to JCPenney's and he and I would pick out clothes for me. You know what I mean? So this is Jim Culligan's brainstorm. This is his vision. He wants to create this utopia, this world that he believes in. I didn't ask to be a part of that. You know, I didn't ask to be a part of that at all. I would have never chosen the job that I just went to. Why? Because, number one, I don't want to be working for a company that treats people that way. You know, that's abuse. He was in on the chat gossip and stuff. He was probably hoping that I would flirt with him so I could, you know, he would go and tell somebody. Nobody's wanting that. Nobody wants your ass, okay? I was trying to work. Okay, and I was forced into working a job that I would never have chosen. Okay, and then I'm dealing with these stupid stipulations. Well, you know, you have to do this. If you eat this at your desk, then we can fire you. This is bullshit. You know what I mean? It's bullshit. Plain and simple. And I don't want to hear about, you know, being bullied for all these reasons that these people are coming up with are wrong and they're illegal. And they violate my rights. And yes, I do have rights. I may be black, but I have rights. Okay? And no, I'm not trying to create an issue. I don't like to be seen as somebody who's standing up and raising hell or standing up against the white establishment. That's not what I'm doing. Okay? White people have their place in my mind. Okay? There are some white people that I do admire. Like, for example, there's some white musicians that I think are fantastic. There's some white actors and celebrities in my past that I grew up with that I highly admired. They may be racist in their views or whatever, but on the screen, they're great. Some of their music was great. Like, you know, I grew up listening to the Beatles. I love the Beatles. They're about as white as you can get. They are whiter than white, okay? I like the Beatles, okay? You know, I like Paul McCartney. I love George Harrison. That was the most gorgeous man that ever walked the face of this earth, I thought. But, you know, so I'm not hating on white people, so that's bullshit, okay? But what I do resent is when white people have these preconceived ideas and try to put me into a little box and try to dictate my life. That's what I have a problem with. That's not acceptable to me, especially when I don't have anything to do with these people. I'm not in that family, nor do I want to be. I don't want to be in that family. So, anyway, what's Maria going to do today? Maria is, don't know what I'm going to make for lunch. I have no idea. I got my birthday donuts, waiting to put something else in my stomach before I, put that little sugary confection treat down in my stomach. Because, I don't like putting stuff like that down in my stomach on an empty stomach because it's just like, ooh, it's just too sweet, right? So, that's my birthday present to me, And I am trying to make my birthday as nice as I can possibly make it. So I'm looking at my arts and crafts supplies. I'm like, maybe I'll just go ahead and work on art and crafts today. And this is what I will do as a gift to myself. You got to be, clever and creative when it comes to being on a budget. And so I know I need a keychain because my keychain just broke off. So I might make a keychain for myself. You know what I mean? Who knows what I'll do. But whatever I'm going to do it and make myself feel better. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. I'll be back with another video some other time. Take care.